The sky above Vyara was dark purple, filled with lightning that didn't make a sound. The clouds moved slowly, like they were alive. Below them, a small human ship crashed into the soft sands of a glowing desert. It had been damaged while escaping, a black hole storm. Inside, Luke coughed and struggled to stand. His ship was broken, the power gone. He looked outside the cracked window and saw a strange world full of lights, crystals and plant life that shimmered in the dark. Luke stepped out, boots crunching on crystal dust. He had no idea where he was. His maps didn't show any moon like this. Still, the air was breathable and he had no choice. He started walking toward a distant hill where something tall was shining. As he got closer, he saw it was not a rock or a mountain. It was a structure, like a temple, made of smooth glass and living vines. It stood alone, untouched by time. He pushed open a wide stone door. It didn't creak or resist. Inside, the air was warm and smelled like wildflowers. The temple had no light sources, yet everything glowed faintly. He walked deeper until he entered a wide chamber with a high ceiling shaped like a spiral. In the center of that room, floating in midair, was a black box. It didn't shine or glow. It was still, silent, yet powerful. Then he heard a voice, soft, clear, and musical. "You are not from this world," the voice said. He turned quickly, his hand on his tool belt, but what he saw made him freeze. She stood on a raised platform, wearing a robe made of silver threads that moved like water. Her skin was smooth and a soft lavender color. Her long hair shimmered like dark silk, but it was her eyes that held. Him large, glowing softly, filled with both strength and sadness. Who are you?" Luke asked. She smiled gently. "I am Queen Zira. This is my temple, and that box is not yours to open." Luke looked at the box again. "Then why am I here?" "Because the box called to you," she said, walking closer. He took a step back. "What's inside it?" Zira looked at the box with a strange expression. The power of 1,000 forgotten worlds. The memory of peace and the danger of destruction. Luke frowned. "So it's a weapon?" "It's more than that," she said, "unless it can be beauty or horror. Depends on who opens it." Luke raised an eyebrow. "Has anyone opened it before?" She looked away. Many tried. None returned. That answer made him feel cold. "What happens if I try?" She stepped even closer, now just a few feet away. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "If you dare open this box, I'll be yours." His heart skipped a beat. "What?" Didn't explain. She turned and walked around the box slowly, like it was alive and dangerous. "This box is locked not by code, not by key, but by spirit. Only someone with the right heart can open it." Luke felt confused. "Why me?" She stopped. "Because you came here with no greed, no mission, just survival. The box speaks to those who carry something pure." He didn't know how to respond. Part of him wanted to run back to the ship. Part of him wanted to stay and find out everything. He looked at Zira again. Her presence was calm, almost comforting. And yet something about her felt heavy, like she had seen centuries pass and carried their weight. "What happens if I walk away?" Luke asked. Zira gave a small smile. "And the box will sleep again, and I will wait once more." The room fell quiet. Luke walked closer to the box. His reflection was in its surface, but it was blurred, like the box didn't fully accept him yet. "So, if I open it, it'll be mine?" he asked, still unsure what she meant. She tilted her head slightly. "No. If you open it with the right heart, I will be yours." Those words stayed in his mind. He had faced pirates, wormholes, and radiation storms. None of them made him feel like this, curious, nervous, and strangely warm. He backed away from the box for now. "Maybe I need more time." Zira nodded. "Then stay and learn." The box will wait. As he followed her deeper into the temple, he felt a strange pull in his chest. This place wasn't just old, it was alive. And maybe, just maybe, it had chosen him for a reason he couldn't yet understand. He didn't know what the next day would bring. But one thing was sure, the beautiful alien queen wasn't lying. If he dared open that box, everything would change. Luke woke up on a bed made of soft moss and smooth stones. Sunlight from Veyara's twin moons was pouring through a crack in the temple wall. Everything inside felt calm. Even the air seemed to breathe slowly, like the temple had a heartbeat. He stretched and looked around. There were no guards, no locked doors, just silence and the faint sound of wind passing through crystal vines. Zura entered the room quietly, carrying a bowl of glowing fruit. "You are awake," she said. "Yeah," Luke nodded. "Feels like I slept for a year." "You needed rest," she replied, placing the bowl near him. "This moon heals the body, and sometimes the heart." Luke ate the strange fruit. Tasted like honey and rain. "This place is peaceful." "But you said the box holds something dangerous." Zyra sat on a smooth stone across from him. Her eyes watched him closely. "Peace and danger live side by side. The box is not a weapon in the way you understand. It holds memories, feelings, power, and knowledge of a forgotten age." Luke leaned forward. "Who made it?" "My ancestors," Zyra said. "They were not like me. They had power beyond imagination. But that power came with pride, and pride brought ruin." She looked at the wall as if she could see the past through it. They tried to guide the galaxy, to protect it, but others saw them as threats. Wars started. Systems burned, so they sealed everything inside that box. One of them stayed behind. "To guard it? Me?" Luke frowned. "How long have you been here?" "Too long," she whispered. "Generations came and went. Empires rose and fell, and I remained." He felt a quiet sadness in her voice. She had watched time pass alone, always, waiting. "How did you survive?" Luke asked. "This temple feeds on the moon's life. It keeps me strong, but I am tired, Luke. Not in body, in spirit." He didn't know what to say. He had come here by accident, yet now it felt like something more. "Why haven't you opened it yourself?" he asked gently. Iya shook her head. "The box cannot be opened by its guardian. It must be opened by an outsider, someone not tied to the old blood. Someone the box chooses. And you think it chose me? It hasn't." "Rejected you," she said. "That's the first step." Luke stood up and walked to the open doorway. Outside, the sky shimmered with faint colors. He could see glowing trees, floating rocks, and soft rivers that moved like silk. Veyara wasn't just beautiful, it felt magical. Zir joined him. "Do you feel it?" He nodded. "Yeah, like the world is whispering. It always whispers. To the worthy." She then took him on a walk around the temple. There were carvings on the walls, each showing different stories. One showed a great war among stars. Another showed people holding hands across species. The final one showed a figure opening the box, and light spreading everywhere. "What happened to the others who came here?" Luke asked. "Some tried to force the box open," Zira replied. "They failed. Some tried to steal it. The temple removed them. A few came with good hearts, but were not ready." Luke looked at her. "What makes someone ready?" She paused, then said softly, "Courage, kindness, and truth. The box tests the soul. If the soul is true, the box responds." Let those words sink in. It wasn't about strength or skill. It was about who he truly was. Zeta placed her hand on the wall, and it shimmered. A hidden door opened, revealing a small chamber. Inside was a shallow pool. In the center of the pool was a stone with 3 glowing circles. "This is where your journey begins," she said. "What is this place?" Luke asked. "The first test," she answered. "Step into the pool, and your heart will be weighed. It will show you what you fear most." Luke looked uncertain. "What if I fail? Then you leave unchanged. But no harm will come." He took a breath and stepped into the pool. The water was warm, but as soon as he stood in the center, everything around him faded. Suddenly, he was back on Earth. He saw his old room, his brother, and the moment he ran away during a crisis, his family had needed him, and he had left. He watched it all, the shame filling him. But this time, He didn't turn away. He walked up to his younger self. "I'm sorry," Luke whispered. "I should have stayed. I was scared." The vision paused. His younger self looked at him, then nodded and vanished. The pool returned. Zira stood nearby, watching. "You faced your fear," she said. He stepped out, soaking wet but stronger. "I'm not proud of it, but I had to see it." Zira smiled gently. "Truth begins there." As night fell, the temple lit up with soft colors. They sat near the floating box once again. "You said I have to pass 3 tests?" Luke said. Double quotes, "Yes," she nodded. "You have passed the first. Tomorrow comes the second." He looked at her. "Why are you helping me?" She met his eyes. "Because maybe you are the one I was meant to wait for." They sat in silence, 2 souls from different worlds, bound by fate and a mystery that was just beginning to unfold. Morning came with a soft glow. The twin suns of Vayara rose above the horizon, casting golden light across the temple's walls. Luke stood by the edge of a balcony, looking at the strange yet peaceful world. Vines curled around stone pillars, and flying creatures moved through the air like slow ribbons. Everything here felt alive and calm, but inside him, he felt nervous. He turned when he heard soft footsteps. It was Zira. She looked the same as yesterday, graceful, calm, and somehow ancient. "Are you ready?" she asked, "for the second test?" He nodded. "What do I need to do?" "Today," she said, "you must show kindness, not to me, and not to yourself, but to another life in need. Real kindness is when no one asks, and you still give." She led him to a narrow path behind the temple. It twisted through glowing trees and floating stones. They walked in silence, the soft wind brushing against them. After an hour, they reached a wide cliff that looked over a small valley. Down below was a village of small mushroom-shaped houses. "Others live here?" Luke asked, surprised. "Only a few," Zira said. "Most left long ago. But one family still remains. The villagers are gentle, but they do not trust outsiders." Suddenly, a loud crack filled the air. They both looked down and saw part of a wooden bridge collapsing. A young alien child was trapped in the middle, holding onto a broken rope. The water below raged with sharp rocks and fast currents. Luke didn't wait. He ran. Luke's iris started, but he was already sliding down the hill. He reached the broken bridge quickly. The other villagers stood at a distance, unsure of what to do. The child cried out, barely holding on. Without thinking, Luke grabbed a nearby rope, tied it to a tree, and stepped onto the shaky bridge. The wood cracked under his weight, but he moved slowly, carefully. Each step made his heart pound. "Don't worry," he called out. The child looked up, wide-eyed, and clung tighter to the rope. As Luke got closer, a piece of the bridge snapped and fell. He nearly lost balance but held on. Reaching the child, he wrapped his arms around them and used the rope to swing both of them to safety. When they landed on solid ground, the child cried softly in his arms. The villagers stared at him, then slowly approached. An elder bowed his head deeply, showing respect. Zira appeared behind them, calm and quiet. "You could have died," she said softly as Luke placed the child down. "Yeah," he replied, breathing hard. "But someone needed help." "You didn't ask for anything in return," she said. "Why would I?" He looked at her. "That's not what kindness is." Zira nodded once. Her eyes looked at him not just with admiration, but with something deeper. Something that had not been there before. They returned to the temple before nightfall. The stars above Vayara sparkled in colors Luke had never seen on Earth. Zira brought him to the main chamber again, where the box still floated in silence. "You've passed 2 tests," she said. "Only one remains." "What is it?" Luke asked. She walked toward him slowly. "Truth?" He tilted his head. "Truth? Yes," she whispered. "Oh. You must speak your heart. Not to me. Not to anyone else. Just to yourself." Luke took a deep breath. "How do I do that?" Sarah raised her hand. The walls of the chamber rippled like water. Suddenly, Luke was alone in a quiet place. A mirror stood in front of him. He looked into it and saw himself tired, unsure, but different from the man who first crashed here. He stepped closer. "Why am I really here?" whispered. His reflection looked back. "Because you were running," Luke nodded. "Yeah. I left Earth because I was tired of war, of loss, of always being told what to do." His voice trembled. "I thought maybe I'd find peace in the stars. Or maybe I'd just disappear quietly." He looked down. "But now, I feel like I found something I wasn't looking for." He touched the mirror gently. "I don't want to run anymore. I want to protect something. I want to matter not to everyone. It's just to someone." The mirror faded. Zuria appeared beside him again. "You spoke the truth," she said. Even when no one was listening, Luke turned toward her. "Was it enough?" She nodded. "The box will decide. But for now, yes." They stood together in silence. The box pulsed faintly with light. It was the first time it had ever reacted since Luke arrived. "Does this mean I can open it?" he asked. Zur looked into his eyes. "It means you may try. The choice is yours. But know this: once it opens, your life will never be the same." Luke stared at the box. He still had questions, still had doubts. But deep inside, something had changed. He was no longer a lost traveler. He was becoming something more. The next morning was not quiet like the others. The air felt heavy, and strange lights flickered in the sky. Zira stood at the edge of the temple roof, watching with calm but serious eyes. Luke joined her, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "Something's wrong," he said. She nodded. "Ship has entered Veyra's orbit. It's not yours." Luke's heart sank. "The Galactic Fleet?" "Yes. They must have tracked your crash. Or perhaps they followed your trail through the stars." Within minutes, the sky split open with a roar. A sleek warship descended, its engines screaming across the valley, landed hard, sending dust and wind in all directions. Armored figures stepped out tall, cold and silent. Their leader was Commander Varen, a hard-eyed alien with skin like dull metal and sharp lines on his face. He looked at the temple with disgust. "So it's real," he said. "The legendary box of power." Zyra descended calmly, her robe flowing like water. "This is a place of peace," she said. "Peace is a lie when power sleeps beneath it," Varen replied. "We've come for the artifact." "It does not belong to you," she answered. Luke stepped forward, placing himself between Varen and Zaraya. "You don't know what you're dealing with?" Varen raised an eyebrow. "A human. You're the one who activated the signal. Foolish." He turned to his soldiers. "Take the box." The temple reacted instantly. Walls shifted, blocking paths. The box floated higher, glowing softly. "The temple is alive," Varen growled. "Fine. If force is needed, we will break through." Zira stood beside Luke now. Her voice was quiet, but firm. "You can't take the box by power. It chooses its own," Varen laughed. "Then we'll take you instead. The Guardian always has secrets." He raised his weapon. Fire Luke stepped forward, hands clenched. "I challenge you, Luke," said. Everyone went silent. Varen stared at him. "Challenge me, one-on-one. If I win, you leave. If you win, you do what you want." Iraya's eyes widened slightly. "Luke," Varen laughed again. "You're no warrior." "Maybe not," Luke replied, "but I'm not afraid of you." The commander nodded slowly. "Very well. You amuse me, human." The soldiers formed a wide circle in the temple courtyard. Zira stood outside it, her heart racing for the first time in many years. The fight began quickly. Varen was strong, trained in war. He swung his weapon like it was part of his body. Luke dodged, rolled, and used the ground. He wasn't faster or stronger, but he was clever. He used the environment. He grabbed stones through dust and jumped over broken pillars, but Varen still struck hard. Luke fell once, twice, blood on his lip. Still he stood up each time. "Why won't you stay down?" Varen hissed. "Because someone has to protect her," Luke said. He ducked a final blow and tackled Varen, forcing him into the side wall. The commander gasped, wind knocked out of him. Luke stood over him, panting. The silence was broken by the soft hum of the box. It glowed brighter than ever before. Zira stepped forward, eyes full of light. "You have proven yourself again," Varen groaned and stood, waving off his soldiers. "We leave." "But this isn't over." He turned to Luke. "Next time, human, I won't hold back." The ship took off minutes later, vanishing into the sky. Luke sat on the steps. Exhausted Zaire knelt beside him, her voice soft. "You could have died." He smiled weakly, "but at least they're gone." It responded. For the first time in centuries, it responded with light. He nodded. "I think it's ready." Zaire looked into his eyes. "Are you?" He didn't answer right away. His body hurt. His thoughts were heavy. But something inside him had shifted. "Yes," he said finally. "I am." That night, the temple was quiet again. The stars above danced like they were watching. The box floated calmly, glowing with soft light. Tomorrow, Luke would try to open it, and the fate of more than just this moon would change forever. The morning sun rose slowly over Veyara. Luke stood before the black box, its surface calm but alive with faint pulses of light. He felt a mixture of fear and hope swirling inside him. Zaria stood close, watching him with quiet support. Was the moment he had been waiting for, or dreading? "Are you sure you want to do this?" Zira asked softly. Luke nodded. "Have to. For you, for the temple, and for myself." The temple held its breath. The vines that clung to the walls seemed to shimmer. The air grew thick with energy. Luke reached out and touched the box. It was smooth, colder than he expected, but warm at the same time. The moment his fingers met the surface, the box opened slowly, revealing a soft light inside. The light was not blinding, but full of color, blues, greens, golds, and reds. Shifting like a living painting inside, he saw visions, flashes of stars, ancient cities, and faces from long ago. The memories of a lost civilization poured into him, felt their hopes, their fears, and their wisdom. Zur took his hand. This power is not to be feared, but respected. It holds the past and the future. As Luke stared deeper into the light, he felt a new strength growing inside him. It was as if the knowledge of those ancient worlds was now part of him. He understood that with this power came responsibility. Suddenly, the temple trembled. The walls shook and the light grew brighter, filling every corner of the chamber. Luke gripped the box tightly, steadying himself. Outside, the sky darkened. The warship commander Varen's threat still lingered. The fleet could return at any moment. "What happens now?" Luke asked. "Now," Zaria said, "we prepare." The box closed gently, its glow now steady and strong. Luke felt different, stronger, wiser, and more certain. Days passed as they worked together. Luke learned to control the power flowing through him. Zira taught him the old ways, the history of her people, and the meaning behind the box's power. One evening, they looked out over Veyara's glowing forests. Luke asked, "Why did you wait so long for someone like me?" Zira smiled softly. "Because only a human could open the box without greed. Only a heart brave enough to face fear and kind enough to save a child could unlock it. And now we stand together as queen and guardian. There." Bond grew deeper, built on trust, respect, and hope. But peace was fragile. One night alarms blared through the temple. The fleet had returned, larger and more aggressive. They were not willing to let the box remain in human hands. Luke and Zira stood at the temple's entrance as warships filled the sky. The temple's ancient defenses activated, shining with energy. Vines wrapped around the walls, glowing like sentinels ready to fight. Luke raised his hand, channeling the power of the box. Beams of light shot toward the ships, disabling their weapons and engines without destruction. Baron's voice crackled over the coms. Cannot hide behind your magic forever, human? Luke smiled calmly. This is not magic. It's the legacy of peace, and it will protect Vayara. The fleet hesitated, unsure how to fight against such power. Zira stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. We do not seek war, but we will defend what we cherish. A silence fell. The fleet slowly retreated, leaving Vayara in peace, as the stars returned to their quiet dance. Luke and Zariah stood together, ready for whatever came next. They had awakened an ancient power, not just in the box but within themselves, and the galaxy would never be the same. The days after the fleet's retreat were quiet but full of change. Vayara's glowing forests seemed brighter, as if the moon itself celebrated the new beginning. Luke and Zira stood side by side, their bond stronger than ever. They had faced danger, passed tests, and unlocked a power that was once lost. Luke no longer felt like a stranger on this alien moon. He was its guardian now, a protector chosen by the box and by Ziria, the beautiful queen who had waited so long. One evening, as twin moons rose high, Luke walked through the temple gardens. Soft lights from strange flowers lit the path. Ziria joined him quietly. What do you see now? She asked. Luke smiled. A future, not just for us, but for everyone who believes in peace. She nodded. The box gave us more than power. It gave us hope. They walked to the edge of a cliff, looking out over the valley where small villages began to grow again. Species from nearby systems arrived, curious and respectful. Some came as friends, others as seekers of knowledge. Do you think they will trust us? Luke asked. Trust is earned, Zira replied. But the box opened a door. Now it is. Up to us to keep it open. Days turned into weeks. Luke trained with the power inside him, learning to use it wisely. Zira guided him with patience and care. Their friendship grew into something deeper, a connection that needed no words. One night, Luke found himself staring at the stars, thinking about Earth. He missed it sometimes, the chaos, the laughter, the people he left behind. But he knew he had a new home now, and a new purpose. Zir sat beside him. You carry two worlds in your heart, she said softly, and both make me stronger, he replied. Then the temple trembled once more. A distant signal pulsed through the air. A call for help from a nearby system under threat. The galaxy is not at peace yet, Zira said. There are still those who choose war. Luke looked determined. Then we will go to them. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. She smiled proudly. The queen and her guardian. Together they prepared the temple ship, an ancient vessel powered by the box's energy. It shimmered with light and life, ready to carry them to new worlds. As they took off, Luke looked back at Vayara one last time. The moon glowed softly beneath them, a symbol of hope, through the stars. They traveled, bringing light where darkness threatened, healing where pain lived, and building bridges where fear once ruled. And everywhere they went, stories spread. Of the human who opened the box, the alien queen who smiled, and the power that could change the galaxy in the end. It was not the box that held the greatest power. It was the courage, kindness, and truth inside one human heart, and the promise of a better future held by two souls united.